Welcome to Lunch with Legacy Leaders, a weekly talk show with local and national thought leaders on issues impacting the Black community. Now introducing our host, Miss Ann Marie Sorrell.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lunch with Legacy Leaders. I am your host, Ann Marie Sorrell, President and CEO of the Mosaic Group. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, and I want to also thank our sponsors, the Florida Lottery and Florida Power and Light, for making this broadcast possible. Today, we have a very special guest who needs no introduction to many. We'd like to bring on Broward County's Mayor, Dale Holness.
Good afternoon. I'm grateful to be joining you. Legacy Magazine, of course, is a great trailblazing publication that really inform and educate our community in a tremendous and powerful way. Thank you, Legacy Magazine.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon, Mayor Holness. You are Dale everywhere. So there's so many people who know you, but for our audience who do not know you, I want to make sure that we do a proper introduction. So I'm just going to tell our audience a little bit about you. Mayor Holness was named Legacy Magazine's Public Official of the Year and by South Florida Chapter of the American Society of Public Administration 2017 elected Official of the Year. His political record is well documented in his many years of public service as a Lauderhill Commissioner and Vice Mayor, plus his terms from November to present, serving as Broward County's Mayor. And of course, he's been a District Commissioner for over 200,000 people, which covers, he's been a mayor for over 200,000 people, which covers 8 municipalities. Mayor Holness is the chair of the Broward Black elected officials. He's led many efforts in the community, especially for economic development. So just check this out. He led the effort for a $20 million economic development package and community improvement programs for Central Broward District 9. When he arrived at Broward County, the percentage of CBE participation was at 10%. Because of his leadership, it has now reached 39%. Participation is at a higher level than ever before in Broward County, and that's for minority businesses. So kudos to you, Mayor Holness, for that. He's been instrumental in passing the Broward County surtax, a 30-year, 1-cent surtax for transportation. He also ensured that there's a 30% participation goal for CBE firms eligible projects funded by the surtax. So if you're not certified in Broward County, make sure you're certified CBE so you can take advantage of this surtax opportunity. There's a 30% goal that has to be met. And I'm sure the mayor is going to talk a little bit about that later. Leading the force and he's been a leading force and organizer behind the Lauderhill Mall citizenship drives with nearly 5,000 citizenship applications processed. Mayor Holness supports capitalizing on Broward County's geographic uniqueness as the gateway to the Americas and maximizing the assets in the Port Everglades and Fort Lauderdale-Hollywood International Airport. He's a strong advocate for small, minority, and women-owned businesses, and I'm a witness to that, as well as improving economic development opportunities for all. His focus will always remain on improving the economy, getting people back to work, increasing opportunities for home ownership, and helping those who are going through hard times. So welcome again, Mayor Holness. And you have a very long list of accomplishments. So, kudos to you, but let's get right to it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that great introduction. The one thing I would say is I'm a mayor for Broward County, 1.9 million people. I'm the district commissioner for about 250,000 people.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. So we have a lot to get through this morning. Broward County is one of the hardest hit counties for coronavirus. How has this impacted the county, and what has been the county's response, Mayor Holness?
So it's been for us in Broward County, this COVID-19 virus. It is disseminating our revenues. At the airport, we're down to less than 10% in terms of passenger load. For tourism or convention and visitors bureaus, experiencing a 90+% drop off. The port we haven't been impacted as severely, even though cruise ships are not going out of the port. We had other revenues that comes into the port from cargo, which we still need to have, so you can have your groceries and your supplies in your home and in your offices. We also have fuel going out of the port. We've seen some drop in the amount of fuel being utilized for the airports and for vehicles. Know that Port Everglades provides the fuel for the airport in Palm Beach, in Miami, in Broward, and over in that regional airport over there, international airport there also. So how have we responded? Well, I can tell you that there's a tremendous amount of work going on to help mitigate the impact of the virus. Emergency orders that progressively led to where we shut down pretty much the economy. We've now gone back to where we revise it, opening up certain businesses. However, we've seen a serious increase in the number of positive tests. We had gotten it down to where we were only at about as low as 16, and we're averaging about 30, 40 new positive tests per day. We've seen over 500, 400, 300. It's really looking bad now. We're going to have to take every precautions that we can, following the CDC guidelines, following the orders that the county issued. Some restaurants are not adhering to the capacity. Some of them are actually acting as clubs, and some clubs and bars that are not supposed to be open are acting as though they're restaurants and still doing club stuff. So it is serious. We're going to have to wear a mask, do some wash and sanitize our hands, and take all those precautions that's necessary. And probably at this point in time, I'd say to folks, if you don't have to be out and about, do what you have to do and get home. Don't get into crowded areas. That's where the virus is spread from breathing, from sneezing, from coughing. So if we cover or if we use facial covering as we have mandated when you're out getting service, that will help us limit the spread of the virus. We're also working to get some resources to our small businesses. We've done many webinars on how to access the funds from the federal government. We're about to put out some money directly to very small businesses, people in it, because those businesses didn't get much, any help at all from the federal money that came down previously. So we're working hard. Our administrative staff is working probably 7 days. Nobody taking a vacation in the summertime. We breaks anyway because we might go crazy, you know.
Right. So, Mayor, just do for your mic, it's going in and out, just so you know. So I don't know if there's an adjustment you can make to ensure that we're hearing everything you're saying. We heard most of it, but there were some points of going in and out. So that's really good. And you're right. A lot of small businesses did not, especially those with 5 or less employees, did not either get the PPP or they didn't get enough PPP to really keep them afloat. So I'm happy to hear that Broward County will be putting some funding out for those small businesses. And where will they be able to find that information when it's available?
They can go to broward.org/econdev.
Okay, broward.com. Okay.
.org/econdev. ECONDEV. That's for our Small Business and Economic Development Department. They'll be managing those funds.
Absolutely. Okay. So the Black community is unfortunately being disproportionately impacted by coronavirus, which makes up most of the district that you represent, Mayor. When you're not in your mayoral duties and you're in your district commissioner duties, you represent a huge population of the Black community in Broward County. What measures are being taken to ensure that our communities are being informed as well as being safe?
So for our community, of course, I have an email database that we send stuff out to all the time. I think you might even be in it.
Yes.
Disseminate information on a constant basis about what is happening. That's very important for us. I do radio appearances also. I'm out in the community. I communicate with our community leaders, especially our pastors, on a regular basis also. I work closely with the Urban League and with other community organizations to ensure we're doing what we need to do to inform and educate the public. Now, further, we've got a strong partnership agreement with the Urban League and with OIC, two of our major community organizations that serve our public. We're working with them to put together something to help mitigate the spread of the virus by finding housing for those who are in crowded places. So that's a part of what we look at. Someone in a household that has a room with 6 people in it, it's going to be hard for you to isolate yourself, right? So we're looking to see how we can work with them in circumstances like those. There should be some funding going out for that. We spoke to President Ball this week about that. We're also working to bring resources in terms of food to the community, and we're hoping to work with OIC to help some more with some training programs. And part of what we want to do is start to stimulate jobs again, and not in areas where you're going to have an issue, but it's a big area that you're not working very closely in space. So we're pushing out work. You didn't mention that we have a project to build a expanded convention center and build an 800-room convention center hotel. Even though we've been hit with revenues, we're probably going to have to slow that a little bit. That's still on the way. There's a 30% goal on that. Also, an apprenticeship piece that we're building into that so that those who might not have skill set get some skill set. We saw what happened in the last Great Recession, that a lot of people who didn't have the skill set weren't able to get back into the workforce. We want to make sure we are working to mitigate that impact.
And that's a good point, because there are many people who are, as a result of this, are more than likely going to want to change professions or advance their skill set, so that way, maybe they make the transition from being, a frontline worker to, being able to do something more technical, where if they have to work from home, they're able to have that option. So it's good that workforce is definitely a part of the general plan to get people back on their feet and back to work as well. So since I've known you, you've been a fighter for our people, our communities. That's hands down. Anyone who knows you knows that. The recent death of George Floyd has once again brought racism, police brutality, systemic injustices to the forefront, and in the midst of a pandemic at that. What is your response to this?
So, as you rightly said, I've been on this trail for quite some time. It's sad to see what happened with the manifestation of systemic racism that exists within our society, and you go back to the virus being more impactful and detrimental to Black people in terms of health, in terms of economy, and then we saw the brutality that was netted out to Mr. Floyd and to so many others over the past few weeks. But I understand those are symptoms of something that exists for a very long time. This past Tuesday, I brought in a group that really educated us as to how racism is built into our system. We know that if you're Black, you're twice as likely to get stopped by a cop for not wearing a seatbelt than if you're white. We know that the income level Blacks is much lower than whites. In fact, we only make about 60% of what white make. You look also at the net worth of folks, and Blacks are only about 10%. A household, Black households only about 10% what white households have on average. So how do we change this? Part of what I've been working on, and thank you for the support, is the Broad Black Action Plan, which basically calls for us to look at where we are and find a way to move forward. So there's a whole program that's there, and if one wants to find more about it, they could go to BrowardBlackElectedOfficials.org, BrowardBlackElectedOfficials.org, and you'll see what we're talking about. We look at health and how we fix that. We look at employment, we look at education, we look at the economy, we look at criminal justice, we look at housing, transportation, political empowerment. So there's a whole plan in there that we can all work together on fixing. And now I want to let folks know it's not just a Black problem. It's the community's problem. It's the nation's problem. And what we found on Tuesday from the seminar we had for all the commissioners, and I'm grateful that all of them attended. Maybe they didn't all stay for the whole time, but we looked at the history that exists, where for the majority of the time of the history of America, Blacks were legally subjugated, legally subservient, not by de facto action of people. I'm talking about in the laws. You were enslaved. That's Jim Crow existed, that you couldn't live certain place, you couldn't go to certain schools. And unfortunately, ingrained in our system, even instinctively, how we deal with Blacks has a problem. So I'll just take you one part of what we learned. That it's not just when someone gets to be old as Mr. Floyd or me that we feel the angst of the community eyes on us and the punishment. It starts at kindergarten. There was a study done where kindergarten teachers were given videos to look at from a screen, and they were told that there was some laser technology that was there that they're testing, and they want to see how well it works. And they asked these teachers to watch this classroom on this video to find out which one of the children were being misbehaved and who should be punished. This is at kindergarten now.
Wow.
And guess which one of the kids, and there's a mixture of kids, a different ethnicity. Guess which kids were misbehaving? Guess which kids were to be punished?
I would assume the Black kids was pointed out.
Then the question is why?
Well, I'm assuming that's what was pointed out.
It was the Black kids, and why?
I wish I could answer that.
I told you to think that. Why? That laser technology that they had was to watch where the person's eyes was focused on in the screen. You know where those, including Black teachers, by the way, you know where they were focused on? The Black kids. Those were the ones they were watching. So guess who they're going to see doing something wrong?
The Black kids, if that's where your focus is.
The white kids are over there probably burning the place down, but they're not being looked at.
Right.
So at that age, you start having that kind of punishment and penalty and looked at. How are we going to do well after that? Because then you look at the punishments that is netted out as you go through schools, and you'll find that continues from there. Black kids, especially Black males, on discretionary punishment, far more likely to be punished. Even when it's mandatory, this says, if you do this, this is the punishment. Guess which kids get more of it? Black kids, even though white kids commit more and have more problems. I'll give you another one. They looked at the disproportionate amount of stops by cops on Black, but also the disproportionate amount of search on vehicles. Guess what? Again, Blacks stop more often. Their vehicles get searched more. But here's a compelling part of this. The likelihood of catching someone with contraband was far greater if you're white than if you're Black.
Wow.
But we get stopped more, so guess what happens? We're going to get arrested more.
Right.
The whole system that's already there that leads us to where we are. So we're going to have to take some serious action. So a couple of things that I'm working on with that. I'm putting together, and I got the okay of my colleagues to move forward with creating a racial equity task force, where we're going to look across Broward County, inside government, outside government, at where we are in terms of how we dismantle the systemic racism that exists. We look at the data, and the data is profound. And it shows you and it can guide you as to the fact that a lot of areas where there's tremendous disparity that exists. And the entire community have to come together on this. So we're going to look at all these different disparities and figure out what actions we take to do it, right?
Right.
Because racism is so ingrained. So we're going to build a system that you have a dashboard. You can see where we are, where we stand, and what we're doing, and bring in the entire community in to be a part of it. So again, it can't be just blacks that fix this. And I'm going to, before I tell you some of the makeup that I'm looking to have as a part of this task force, different entities and people, here's something. When we also look at that study and look to see where white Americans place compared to other white folks in other countries in the world, guess what? They were lagging behind also. So you're keeping a group down, but you're also keeping yourself down as a part of that, because those folks are not able to live to their fullest potential. Okay. When you lock somebody up and put them in jail or in prison, who's paying for it? All of us. So you're taking money and resources away that could be utilized to help build and strengthen the community. Control a group. That means you don't have enough resources to do what needs to be done to make you even better yourself.
Right.
So we look at life expectancy. And when you look at what life expectancy for blacks, you know it's pretty bad in this country. But when you pull whites out and compare them to other countries, we were down in the 20-something level. Chile was ahead of us.
Wow.
Eastern European countries were ahead of us. That's white population compared to white population in those countries. So again, we're not doing that great totally. So we have to fix that. So part of what I want to make sure we do is engage the entire community to be a part of what we need to do to build and strengthen the community for all of us. And community members that I'm looking to have in this task force would be the largest business group, most powerful in Broward County. Hope they will accept an invitation to be a part of it. The comprises all the cities in Broward County. In the banking arena, I want to bring Wells Fargo, Bank of America, BB&T, and because they got the money to lend. And if you look at the practice that they have had over time, their practice hasn't been good either. Out of the money pool, right?
Right.
And if you don't have capital, you can't go in a capitalist society. So that's a piece there. The Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, which is our business development group, the Chambers of Commerce, higher education group like NOVA, FAU, BC, Broward County School Board, the Chiefs of Police Association, BSO, School Board. I said that before. NAACP, Urban League, State Attorneys, Public Defender, Chief Judge, and other nonprofit agencies. Even the Sun Sentinel, I like for them to be a part of it. And even the Herald, if they would love to, because again, we got to bring everybody together. And before I lose too much more time, I just want to tell you what my goal was even before all of this came about, the pandemic and everything, is how we work to bring the community together. So the theme that I have, the mission statement I had for my mayorship is to make Broward County a better place for all who live here by empowering our communities, strengthening our households and businesses, policies that afford access to opportunities, and by unifying everyone across racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds, and to hold the government accountable for what we do.
Absolutely. That's your One Broward initiative, correct?
That's correct. One Broward.
Yes. And I love that, Mayor, because it is a comprehensive approach. I think that, yes, the incident with George Floyd brought the attention back to police brutality and systemic racism, but I think it's important for people to understand what exactly systemic racism is and what systems we're actually talking about. So I think your approach being a comprehensive that is focused on, economics, is focused on housing, healthcare, law enforcement, and all of the other business and commerce, all of the other pieces that you've mentioned. And I definitely look forward to hearing more about the task force and in any way playing a part myself. And I'm sure MIA Media Group would want to be a media partner or component on that as well. I can't speak for Dexter, but I would assume so.
Already.
Yeah.
He's already included.
Absolutely. So let's jump to the next question, which, ties into what you're doing. You mentioned the Black Broward agenda, and you said we can find that plan on the action plan on the Black elected officials website, correct?
The Broward blackelectedofficials.org.
Okay. So I hope everyone's taking note of that. And then, so last week I participated in the I Am a Proud SOB campaign, which I thought was pretty clever and buzzworthy. And I love the concept, but SOB, supporter of Broward. Correct. I was happy to see that you featured one of my favorite restaurants, Fins and Tings, in the whole digital launch that happened. And, I'm glad you did that, Mayor. And I just want to know from you, why was that so important to make sure that, it wasn't just Fins and Tings, there was another a Black-owned restaurant that was featured as well. But why was that important to make sure that those businesses were featured? And what can we do to continue to ensure that not only the survival, but the success of our Black-owned restaurants and businesses in Broward County?
So that's our Black Action Plan, by the way. So what we want to do is grow and develop businesses, because here's one of the issues. Black unemployment usually run 2 to 3 times higher than white unemployment. And my belief is that it's because we don't own enough business. We're not hiring ourselves. We're not hiring our family and our friends. Other folks are doing that. So therefore we become the last hired and the first fired. And you can't say because I hire my son or my daughter in my business, I'm discriminating against you. Right?
Right.
How are you going to win in court with that? And I'm not saying racism doesn't exist and discrimination and hiring practices is not there, but it's difficult for you to prove that.
Correct.
Right? So one of the things we must do as a people is open our own business. And part of what we must do, first starting with us, we must buy from our own community, buy from our own businesses. And I do that. Spend my money. I'm looking for the Black business to spend with, and encourage the white community to do that. Because guess what? Black folks go to the white community and spend the money all the time. How often do they come over and spend some money with us?
Right.
So when I go places like Fins and Things and other places, I'm to eat with me there. If I'm paying the tab, I'm going to find the best one I can. And if I find one that's not even doing so well, I'm going to encourage them and point out to them what they need to do to improve. And if you talk to Tasha over there or any other business in Broward County that I support, I'm going to offer them suggestions and tell them what I think they need to do to be better. And most of them do take it in a positive light and improve. So that's a big part of what we must do. Improving the governmental contracting opportunities, which I've done in a huge way in Broward County. When I came in, I got to tell you, I had resistance from some of the elected officials who were here at the time. It was hard for me to move the needle. But over time, I've changed that. And now I have other commissioners that are looking to promote this because they see that it's right.
Yes.
And it works, and it's a good thing to do. And we still have some resistance. There's still some issues, but we are getting much better than we were when we started on this pathway. So Black-owned business is critical to creating wealth. Every other community you look at, businesses that they utilize, and the ones who more businesses, the most businesses are the ones who prosper the most.
Absolutely. And I commend you, Mayor, because I know when you first became a commissioner for Broward County, one of the first things you did was set up an economic council, economic committee, and you were definitely, when it wasn't popular, the first to say to any developer, to any person who was trying to bring a project to Broward County, what are you going to do for Black people?
I want to know how many Black people making money out the deal. You want my
Exactly.
support? That's what you got to do. Don't come smooth tell me how wonderful I am and all of that nonsense, because that won't work. And even if you gave me some campaign contribution today, tomorrow I'll vote against you if you don't include us in the real deal of making sure that we're making a piece of the pie.
Absolutely. And I hope that other elected officials follow that lead to ensure that, other counties and cities can get to and beyond 39%, because that is amazing. I commend you for being able to make that. So I know we're winding down on time, and there's just a couple of other questions that I have for you. Your experience, expertise, and leadership, how has it prepared you for these unprecedented times?
So, business owner, I actually, right while I was in college, got distracted a little bit and got into management at McDonald's. So I was a general manager for several of the stores, and I got to tell you, they gave me a good education in how to deal with business, how to train and develop people. They even sent me to what they called Hamburger University, okay, which is about how you manage and run a store. But it was tremendous amount of education. I then later got into the real estate business, owned my own home at 22 years old, thanks to the paychecks I was making at McDonald's and the bonuses that I received. It gave me the opportunity to do that. And then I got in real estate because I thought that real estate was one area where we could actually have the legacy of passing on wealth for children. And generational poverty is something that we see ingrained within the Black community.
Yes.
Business ownership, real estate ownership are two areas that we can actually pass something on. It's great to have a wonderful job. You can earn some money, put it away, and maybe even leave some stuff for your kids. But when you have that business, you're certainly going to pass it on to someone else, because you'll have it for them to grow and develop. So in the real estate business, I was president of the South Florida Board of Realtors, a Black real estate group that a lot of people might not be fully familiar with. But in 1947, 11 Black people got together in Florida. I think 9 of them were from Chicago, from Michigan. And they came to say, we can't be realtors. Blacks weren't allowed to be realtors then. The Realtor Association. Couldn't be a member.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So they set up their own, and I became president of South Florida Board of Realtors right after, not too long after I got in the real estate business. And as such, helped to build that. But it taught me how to build a cooperative business development models, how we can work together, even when we are in the same business. That organization exists nationwide, and we get together and create. It's a family. Once you get in the family, they support you always. So being a part of a community organization, that is promoting the well-being and betterment of the community or of a, it's a very powerful tool. So those of you out there in any profession, join a professional organization that's there. And if you're Black, look for one that you can join the big ones too, because I've always been a member of the Realtor Association. They got life. But join that other group that's working to empower our community.
Absolutely.
And then I got elected to Lauderhill, started the Chamber of Commerce, got money into the Education A+ program there, and we're building from there.
Absolutely. Well, you have definitely done a tremendous amount of community building in the time that you've been in community leadership in Broward County. And, we thank you for all that you do. I want to, my last question for you, Mayor Holness. People are dealing with a lot right now, from the impacts of COVID-19 on their physical and mental health, economic uncertainties, having everything with the systemic racism coming back up, or it's always been there, but now really being out front even more now. What advice or golden nuggets can you offer our audience?
So what I say to you is this: use the influence you have to make a difference in other people's lives and to improve the community. And you talked about hoping to see other cities and other elected officials engage in the work that I've done. It's already happening. There's quite a number of people that I've helped to get in office. In fact, I'm working to carry 10 others in now as I speak to you. I have an election, but it's not that difficult for me to win this one. So I can turn my focus on helping others to empower them to be leaders, to do what's right and what's best for our community. So that's something that I say to you. And it's very fulfilling when you do stuff like that. You gotta have faith, really. You've got to see the glass half full rather than half empty, and work to get it full. You've got to show love and to each other. And I got to tell you, love is a powerful tool. When you love, strength. To me, it's a wonderful thing to just be one who cares and love others, because it makes you healthier and makes you live longer.
Absolutely. Well, we definitely know about one love and sharing love and giving love. So I love that, Mayor Holness. And I want to thank you again for joining us today for our episode of Lunch with Legacy Leaders. You are definitely a legacy leader, and we appreciate all you do in the community. Please continue to lean on us, those of us who have different platforms, this platform, Legacy Magazine, to help you with the great work that you're doing in the community, especially our communities.
Thank you, Ann Marie. And thank you, Legacy Magazine. You deserve to be supported because you do this kind of stuff. You're empowering our community. And thank you so much for your leadership, Mr. Publisher.
Absolutely. So for those of you who are tuned in, thank you for joining us. Next week, we will be joined by Mr. Eric Knowles, who is the president of the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce. And he has a new initiative, the South Florida Black Prosperity Alliance. So I can't wait to hear about that initiative and how we can get involved and all the great things that the Miami-Dade Chamber of Commerce is doing. So make sure you tune in next week. If you have not picked up your issue, the special edition political issue, make sure you do so. You can access it online at miamediagroup.com. So please pick up the special issue. It just dropped on the 24th, which was yesterday. So get that issue. And if you are under 40 or know a mover and shaker that's under 40, our 40 under 40 nominations are now open. So again, visit miamediagroup.com for that information. And again, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to mark your calendar, share this video, and join us next Thursday at noon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.